Watch for new episodes of the Northwest Outdoorsman on the NC.
Good morning, America. Is a registered trademark of the Walt Disney Corporation, all rights reserved, which is why I'm not allowed legally to say that at 7 o'clock on a weekday morning, but I don't care. I haven't been sued in a couple of months. I think I'm overdue. Happy second day of November 2023. I'm Dan Kuntz. It's Thursday. It's misty. It's rainy. Off and on rain, sometimes at a pretty good clip since about 6:30-ish. Last night at dinner at my sister's house last night when I left to go back and watch the rest of the World Series. It was raining lightly, and that was about 7 o'clock. By the time I got home, it was raining pretty hard, and it was only about a 12, 15-minute drive. We've had about a quarter of an inch of rain since about 6:30 last night. That's a pretty good dose. Going to start tapering off. We'll be done with the rain by mid-morning this morning. In fact, we'll see some sunshine this afternoon as this moist Pacific storm system slides through. It's going to exit. It's in the process of exiting already. Then we dry out, have some sunshine, some fairly nice, benign, quiet weather tonight, most of Friday. Second system comes in Friday night into Saturday. But they're backing off a little bit on the rain totals and the time period of the rain. We'll get to all of that when we do the weather plus the news. In sports, the Texas Rangers have won the World Championship. They've been around since 1961, and they did it. They took care of Arizona. Now, I'm a huge fan of the World Series, never miss it. It was, from a fan's perspective, it wasn't the best World Series. First of all, it only went 5 games, and I want it to go as long as possible. In any event, congratulations to Texas. We'll talk about that. Now the baseball season's over. I'll get over it. It takes me about a week, and then I'll be fine. It is Thursday. Pause for Pets will be coming your way. Let's see. Michael the dog needs a home. It has been way too long since Austin Andrade dropped by and paid us a visit, the broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild. If you haven't been paying attention, the Wenatchee Wild, the new reconstituted Wenatchee Wild, are playing really good hockey in a really good hockey league. We'll hear from Austin in the back half of the program. Let's not waste any more time with whatever cameras are available to us. When you have low clouds, fog, and mist, there's not a lot we can do, but there it is from the cross camera, the Wenatchee Valley. Yesterday's high, 43. You can now make it 9 consecutive days with our afternoon high not getting to where it should be. That's going to change today. We'll be right around normal. Normal's about 50 now this time of the year. And we are now below 10 hours of daylight. Sunrise this morning will pop up at about 7:46. Sunset tonight, 5:42. That's 9 hours and 56 minutes of daylight today. We're under the 10-hour mark. Let's head down to downtown Wenatchee and the roof of the Cascadian looking to the south. As you know by now, we have 2 cameras on the Cascadian Hotel, about the highest peak in downtown. One looks to the south, one looks to the north, and we can see the wet streets. But no real significant accidents. A couple of rocks came down up near the Napsil Tunnel. It happens this time of the year, but it didn't really cause any problems. So good morning to downtown Wenatchee. Good morning to the north end of town, our Cougar Ridge camera, which isn't too high up in elevation, so it gives us the chance to use it. Somewhere out there is Old Station, Sleepy Hollow, Sunny Slope, Omi Gardens. They're out there somewhere in the darkness of this autumn day from our Cougar Ridge camera, high above the Otabashian Bridge. And to Lake Chelan we go. The Lower Butte camera looks a little out of focus. It's trying to focus in. We have 2 cameras on the Chelan Butte. One's a little lower than the other, and that's what we're looking at now. Lake Chelan pointed to the north towards Tehican and the Holden Village. Did I mention that we got some rain? And we're still going to get some rain. From the National Weather Service, the rain should be done roughly around 9 or so. Certainly lots of clouds. But our high of about 50 is just about normal now this time of the year. And again, the rain is going to be tapering off as the day progresses. It'll transition to a little bit of light snow in the mountain passes. But right now the mountain passes, we're told, are just fine. 40 for the overnight low tonight. We will be dry, so we get that break between storm systems tonight and tomorrow. More wet weather returns on Friday night in the overnight hours. We're not talking Friday night or Friday evening. We're talking midnight, 1, 2 a.m. on Friday with an overnight low of about 38 or so. But sunshine on Friday during the day. Looks pretty good for being dry on Saturday afternoon in East Wenatchee Wildcat Stadium as the Eastmont Wildcat football team takes on the Richland Bombers because the rain is supposed to be done about noon on Saturday. We do have a 90% chance of rain, almost all of it contained to the morning hours. So it looks like we'll be high and dry depending on where they kick off. Maybe a little bit of rain at 1 o'clock, but if they kick off at 4 o'clock, should be fine with a high of 50. And then just kind of mild, unsettled weather as we go into Sunday, the first day of daylight standard time. Go back to standard time, of course. Don't forget, Sunday morning at 2 a.m., it becomes Sunday morning at 2 a.m. all over again. I really don't like changing my clocks. And we're just looking at mild, cloudy, wet weather, with the exception of tomorrow, really, for an extended period of time. There you go. At your forecast, grab a cup of coffee, come right back. We'll do the news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley Thursday edition on the NCW Life Channel.
It's the music that revolutionized the sound of Christmas. Mannheim Steamroller Christmas by Chip Davis. Celebrating the holiday spirit for over 35 years. Don't miss this holiday extravaganza. Mannheim Steamroller Christmas by Chip Davis. America's favorite Christmas tradition.
Hi, this is Frank Kuntz, Mayor of the City of Wenatchee. Mike Poyer will make a great mayor. Mike is consistent, he's thoughtful, he shows up, he's prepared, and he always gets to the right answer. Mike just loves this town. He was born and raised here. He has a passion for making this place better, as we all do. And it's been a pleasure working with him on Wenatchee City Council for the past 4 years, and I just look forward to having him lead our city going forward. So join me in voting for Mike Poyer, Mayor.
Check out clubcrowcashmere.com for upcoming events and tickets.
Combination of light rain and mist here in downtown Wenatchee, 38 degrees. Rain will be tapering off by mid to late morning. We'll even see a few sunbreaks this afternoon. Looking pretty good for Friday. Rain returns Friday night into Saturday. Mild and wet weather after that. It's 7 minutes after the hour. An Okanagan County man convicted of child rape in Chelan County failed to overturn his case this week before the Washington State Court of Appeals. 45-year-old Thunder Ray Danzuka, he argued that the date of birth of his victim was included in instructions given to the jury by Judge Travis Brandt, which amounted to an impermissible comment on the evidence. The child, by the way, was 10 years old when Danzuka first committed the sexual abuse. Well, in its ruling on Tuesday, the three-judge appellate panel agreed that including the birth date was an error by the judge, but said it was harmless and did not have any effect on the jury's decision. Danzuka was sentenced last year to 18 years in prison. He's currently being held at the Coyote Ridge Corrections Center in Belfair. A two-vehicle collision just before 6 yesterday morning hospitalized both motorists. Also forced the closure of Highway 97A for quite some time. The Washington State Patrol said the crash occurred near milepost 221 near the mouth of Bird Canyon. That's when a southbound 2012 Toyota Corolla being driven by 18-year-old Adeline Mendoza of Aniat apparently crossed the center line and collided head-on with a northbound 2014 Cadillac Escalade being driven by 38-year-old Jared Major of Chelan. Both drivers had to be extricated from their vehicles. Mendoza transported to Confluence Health. Major was taken to Lake Chelan Hospital, both with unknown injuries. Traffic on the highway had to be stopped or controlled by flaggers for quite some time. The cause of the crash under investigation, but the State Patrol says drugs or alcohol was a factor. Well, for the last few weeks, you've seen our interviews with local candidates running for local offices. We'll be airing them on this channel right through Election Day. And you can view the extended versions of all the interviews we conducted on our website, ncwlife.com. For today's spotlight, it's District 4 of the Wenatchee School Board race. It's an open seat. Social services worker Miranda Skaliski and former school district employee Kendra Martin both want that job.
Transparency and communication, in addition to accountability. Not everybody's perfect. We're all human. Mistakes have been made or can be made, and it's taking that accountability, acknowledging I failed you in this particular area due to the reason of whatever that may be. I want to do better, and explain to me or here are what are additional resources that I can do to help you. And then building that connection with just our students and our educators, sorry, it's been a long day, and families to see what we can do to make everything, try to get it to be where we want it to be, to improve that.
The duty that the school board holds is to hold the cabinet accountable to making sure we are making strong educational decisions to support the growth and development of our students. That is why the board exists, to make sure that every component of that is held accountable, from the superintendent to how the money is managed, to our learning and teaching, and to our human resources, making sure that our staff is taken care of so that they can take care of our students. That is a very important piece of that puzzle, and holding the cabinet accountable for the decisions they make and for making decisions that support those things.
And finally, on this Thursday morning, the Bavarian theme is what turned Leavenworth around. Back in the day, Leavenworth was in serious trouble. People were moving out left and right. They needed to turn something around, so they turned it into a tourist destination. And yesterday, the Governor's Smart Communities Award recognized that effort with an award of merit. Officially called Project Life, the Bavarianization of Leavenworth, if you will, began back in 1963, continued into the 70s. Of course, they changed the zoning and construction codes to require a Bavarian theme for the city of Leavenworth, and by golly, it worked. The Governor's Award recognizes, and I'm quoting now, took vision, planning, and project implementation to produce Project Life and save one of our state's landmark destinations. Congratulations to Leavenworth, and that's the news. At 12 minutes after the hour, we'll have another newscast for you tonight at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. Jefferson and Jordan and Casey and Grant and Eric and Malcolm and a few other people who wander in and out of the building at strange hours. We'll get together and put a newscast for you, and we'll have it for you on television, or as we like to say in the business, TV, at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. If it doesn't work for you, it's on our website, ncwlife.com, our Facebook page, our YouTube page. And if you want to get a hold of us, you're invited to get a hold of us. This is as much your station as it is ours. Send us an email if there's a news tip out there, news@ncwlife.com. Sports, the Obscura holiday. Today in history, some celebrity birthdays, an opinion from my Mad Dog McNaughty, Pet of the Week, and Austin Drawdy from the Wenatchee Wild. It's a busy Thursday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley.
The Wenatchee Valley. Here, most of us really enjoy the great outdoors, and most of us try to make the most of our natural resources. Here at Apple Valley Honda, we know that for generations, we have harnessed nature to sustainably power the West, and we are proud to be part of that tradition as an Environmentally Green Dealership Award winner. Being a green dealership means Apple Valley Honda has reduced our overall environmental impact. We are so proud to live in this wonderful community.
At Confluence Health, our mission is clear: to provide exceptional care for our community. We believe in healthcare that's personal and local because we're just like you, members of this great community.
We are Confluence.
Local care by and for our community.
Local care by and for our community.
Local care by and for our community.
We are Confluence.
This is Grace, and this is her world record-holding guinea pig with an iconic name, Abby.
She currently holds the Guinness World Record for the highest bar jump by a guinea pig. I ride horses and I jump, so I kind of thought it'd be interesting to teach my guinea pig to jump like my horse does.
One day she came out of her room and looked at us, and I said, "Did you get it?" And she said, "Yeah, we got it."
After we won our award, we came to Abby's to celebrate.
Crystal's Intimate Lounge in downtown Leavenworth is a wonderful place to enjoy mouth-watering appetizers and drinks while socializing, watching sports, playing bingo, pull tabs, or simply relaxing while enjoying the breathtaking mountain views. Crystal's family-friendly restaurant has a warm environment to enhance your dining experience, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Crystal's restaurant, lounge, and event space is located 2 blocks west of downtown Leavenworth on Highway 2.
Quarter after the hour, 1 month ago, the Texas Rangers barely made the playoffs. This morning, they're waking up as world champions. They won it all for the first time in franchise history. Zach Gallen was no-hitting the Rangers into the 7th inning, but Texas broke through. They scored the game's first run on Mitch Garver's RBI base hit. That scored Corey Seager, and then Texas poured it on in the 9th. They added 4 runs, including a 2-run home run by Marcus Semien. Seager, the younger brother of former Mariner Kyle Seager, was chosen as the World Series MVP. Texas celebrates a championship for a franchise that was founded back in 1961.
It's happened! The Texas Rangers win the World Series!
I've seen some things, but what you guys did to do this is truly incredible, man. I'm just honored to ride with you to win 11 straight road wins to do this. You guys inspired me. You guys just wrote history in Texas. Yes. Congrats, yes. World champions. It's special. I'm not going to lie, it's special to come here in my first year, you know, with the team that was determined to play winning baseball and never won a championship. But as far as me, that's a byproduct of what those guys did out there and what the front office did. I was along for the ride, trust me. I was very fortunate and blessed, you know, to be able to get back into baseball in this type of situation. And that's a credit to Chris Young and ownership, Ray Davis. They were determined to get winning baseball back to the Texas Rangers.
No, it's truly is incredible. But it's not just me, man. What this team did and how we competed and all the guys in there rallying, you know, we don't really have one leader. You know, that whole clubhouse is a leadership. They're all professionals in there, and we all knew we had a job and a task at hand, and we competed and we did it. You know, it's pretty cool.
Texas made history, the first team in Major League Baseball history to play 11 games on the road in the playoffs and win every one of them. They also beat the odds. They were the number 5 seed out of the American League. Of course, they barely made the playoffs after losing 3 of 4 of Seattle to end the season, but they have the title. The Seattle Kraken are back on home ice tonight in NHL action. They were 2-2 on the road trip, coming off a 4-3 overtime win over Tampa Bay. Into town, Nashville. The Predators tonight, Climate Pledge Arena. The puck is set to drop at 7 o'clock on Root Sports Northwest. Closer to home, the Wenatchee Wild hope to continue a perfect home series. They have 2 games this weekend at the Town Toyota Center. Wenatchee has won 5 in a row. They're now in 2nd place in the Western Conference of the Western Hockey League. Vancouver Friday, proud to be an American night. Victoria Saturday, Military Appreciation Night. Wild broadcaster Austin Drade stopped by this very program yesterday. We'll air the entire interview in the back half of this morning's program. Austin and I talked about the big differences between the Western Hockey League and Wenatchee's former teams in the BCHL and the NAHL.
It's definitely a faster game than we've seen before, a more skilled game than we've seen before. I would say a more physical game than we've seen before. Everything you like about hockey and everything you've gotten used to seeing about hockey, it's been ramped up this year, and it's been ramped up significantly.
And speed. These guys are fast. These really fly up and down the ice.
These guys really fly up and down the ice, and a lot of them, Kenta Iso guy is one of them who really jumps to mind. They've got some quick first steps. When you see them take off, they throw the afterburners on, and you don't see them anymore once they take off and get going. And
physically, they're bigger. Not just the forwards, but the defensemen, and they're just bigger, stronger. They're better hockey players. Nothing against the British Columbia Hockey League or before that the North American Hockey League. These guys are simply bigger, better, faster, stronger hockey players.
They're bigger. They're more skilled, and these guys, these guys have the have the track of, hey, we want to be professional hockey players. That's what they've put their training into, and it's whatever that training has looked like for them. A lot of the guys have gone to hockey schools or schools up in Canada. They played for AAA Bantam programs up there. That training for a lot of these guys has really paid off. That's why they're in the WHL, and that's why they're in Wenatchee.
Trotty tells me what's made the team play a lot better lately, they have a 5-game winning streak, is that the Wild are getting healthy.
Now the guys are starting to play with the same group of guys more often, and I think we're seeing that chemistry built up. Not only that, but the guys are starting to, we're starting to see some guys come back from injuries that were injured at the beginning of the year, and these aren't just guys who they're depth players, they're bodies. We've got guys, Ty Frazier is one of them, who played a full season in the WHL last year. Lucas Sherbina was out for several weeks. He played a couple of games for Spokane, but he's one of the older players on the roster, at least middle of the pack in terms of age. So the guys who have come back from injuries, they're skilled guys, they're older guys, more experienced guys, and guys with higher expectations. And I think having those guys back and being able to bring some of the load off of our 2006 and 2007 born players who are just kind of getting their feet wet and getting thrown into the fire right away, I think has made a big difference.
Again, my entire conversation with Austin will air in the back half of today's program. For tickets, go to WenatcheeWildHockey.com. The game against Vancouver Friday, they'll drop the puck at 7. Saturday with Victoria, we'll drop the puck at 6. Go Wild. Crossover games for area football teams begin tonight. For the Big Nine, the Davis Pirates and the West Valley Rams are going to play crossover games tonight in the Tri-Cities and Yakima, respectively. Davis is at Hanford at 5 o'clock. West Valley will host Meade at 6. Eric will have a preview of Wenatchee's playoff game at Kamiakin, as well as Eastmont's playoff game against Richland tomorrow right here on this award-winning program. Grandview wraps up their season on the road tonight. They take on North Central at 7:30. Ellensburg will host Shadle Park tomorrow night at 7. Ephrata doesn't play anybody. Wenatchee High School, the location for the District 6 1B volleyball tournament. That's tonight. Wilson Creek will take on Soap Lake in a loser-out winner to state game. That'll be at the small gym at 7 o'clock. The big gym will feature Aniad and Waterville Mansfield for the district championship. That's also at 7. Both teams are headed to the state 1B tournament. The first round of the District 6 4A girls soccer tournament tonight. West Valley is at Eisenhower. That's a loser-out game at 6 o'clock. And at 6 o'clock, it's Eastmont and Wenatchee for the championship at Lee-Boftel Field. At the Apple Bowl, Sebastian Moraga and Matt Wise will have the call. It'll be on our Facebook page, streaming on our Facebook page. Pre-game at 5:45. They'll begin about 6 o'clock tonight. The game will be on TV tomorrow night at 6:30. The winner of tonight's game goes to the state tournament. The loser will get one more chance to make it to state. They'll play the winner of West Valley and Eisenhower on Saturday. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this second day of November 2023. Happy National Men Make Dinner Night Tonight Day. Men Make Dinner Night Tonight. National Stout Day. For those of you who like those dark, heavy beers, I'm not one of them. If you live in Liberia, it's Thanksgiving. Enjoy. Happy International Project Management Day. It is National Broadcast Traffic Professionals Day. So, Alicia, this day is for you. But no, we're going to celebrate the deviled egg. And I love deviled eggs. Now, they don't necessarily love me, but I don't care. Deviled eggs are great. And they're easy to make. You just boil the egg, refrigerate it so it's nice and cold. Then you just, cut the egg in half. You take the yolk out. You put the egg aside, the white egg, and then you take the yolk and you mix it up with mayonnaise or Miracle Whip, whatever. Mustard. Now, I use ground mustard when I make my deviled eggs. Maybe a little celery, a little pickle relish, salt, pepper. Put it back into the white of the egg and stick it in the fridge for a couple hours, and it's a party in your mouth, and everybody's invited. Easy to make. It could be an appetizer, it could be a main course, it could be dessert, I don't care. Deviled eggs. If they're done really good, they're really good. I love deviled eggs. They don't love me, but that's my problem, not yours. It's 24 minutes after the hour. Today in history. Now that we're in November, we're going to start doing some presidential elections that took place, well, the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November, which means November 2nd is the earliest any presidential election can be held. This is the 103rd anniversary of the presidential election of 1920. That's when Warren G. Harding, the Republican senator of Ohio, defeats Jim Cox of Ohio. Yeah, they were both from Ohio. He was the governor of Ohio. He was a senator from Ohio. They went at it. Harding beat him pretty good, as you might imagine. He was elected the 29th president of the United States, Warren G. Harding on the state. Pretty much a whitewash, 404 electoral votes for Warren G. Harding. Cox only got 127. Chelan and Douglas counties both voted overwhelmingly for Warren G. Harding. He got 58% of the vote in Chelan County and 58% of the vote in Douglas County. And this election, presidential election of 1920, Harding becomes the last Republican to win all 39 counties in our state. Happened on the state in 1920. The 1948 presidential election. This is the 75th anniversary of one of the biggest upsets in electoral history, regardless of a presidential election or anything else. Nobody saw this thing coming, but Harry Truman simply outworked Thomas E. Dewey, out-campaigned him, and in the end, Harry Truman pulled off the upset. He defeats Republican Governor of New York, Thomas E. Dewey, to win a 4-year term in his own right. He also defeated Strom Thurmond. That's another story altogether. 303 electoral votes for Harry Truman. Dewey got 189. Strom Thurmond, running as a Dixiecrat, got 39 electoral votes. Both Chelan and Douglas counties went for Harry Truman. He won 50% of the vote in Chelan County and 56% of the vote in Douglas County. And Harry Truman campaigned right here in Washington State and right here in Wenatchee in October of 1948. He also campaigned 4 years later for Adlai Stevenson. He remains to this day, Harry Truman, the last president to visit the Wenatchee Valley. Probably helped him win the Wenatchee Valley. 1976, 47 years ago, Democratic Governor Jimmy Carter of Georgia defeats President Gerald R. Ford, the Republican, to be elected the 39th president of the United States. Pretty tight race. 297 electoral votes for Carter. Ford got 240 electoral votes. Gerald Ford won 27 of the 50 states, including Washington State. That's the most states ever won by a losing presidential candidate. Gerald Ford did very well here locally. He got 56% of the vote in Chelan County and 53% of the vote in Douglas County. 19 years ago, incumbent President George W. Bush defeats John Kerry of Massachusetts to win re-election as President of the United States. This was 2004. Pretty tight, 286 electoral votes for Bush, 251 for John Kerry. Bush becomes, right now, still is the most recent Republican presidential candidate to get at least 50% of the vote. No Republican presidential candidate since 2004 has gotten to that 50% mark, and Bush easily won Chelan and Douglas County, 63% of the vote in Chelan County, 67% of the vote in Douglas County, but of course John Kerry easily won Washington State. Other items in history, happy birthday to the Dakotas. North and South Dakota both joined the Union on the same date, November 2nd, 1889, to become the 39th and 40th U.S. states. Which one is the 30th and which one 39th and which one's the 40th? Nobody knows. They're listed as the 39th and 40th as North Dakota and South Dakota because that's how it is alphabetically. But when Benjamin Harrison, the president, signed the papers to bring both of these states into the Union, they purposely mixed them up, and then they covered them up with a big piece of paper, and then he came into his desk and he signed one and then he signed the other, not knowing which one would be 39 and which one would be 40. So nobody really knows to this day, but we just consider North Dakota the 39th state. That is the state flag of North Dakota. Why they didn't go in together, it was the Dakota Territory. They were fussing and feuding. They had some problems. North and South Dakota didn't like each other very much, so they went in as their own states. That's South Dakota. Fun facts about North Dakota. North Dakota fun facts, about 90% of the state's total land is farms and ranches. I think you probably knew that. North Dakota does not have towns or villages. Every town or village is technically a city in North Dakota. North Dakota is the least visited state in America, and yet tourism accounts for the third largest industry in the state. They take in $3 billion a year in North Dakota in tourism, even though nobody goes there. You will not find any chain pharmacies in North Dakota because pharmacists, and only pharmacists, are allowed to own pharmacies. So you won't see any CVS or Walgreens in North Dakota. They're not there. They've been trying to fix that for a while. They haven't been able to do that. And there is 2 cows for every person in the state of North Dakota. In the meantime, South Dakota, the Mount Rushmore state, The largest city in South Dakota, Sioux Falls, is larger than the next 7 cities combined. So it's Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and everything else is pretty much what it is. Happy birthday to South Dakota and North Dakota. They're both 134 years old today. And finally, 7 years ago, one of the greatest World Series ever. This was a great World Series. Cleveland hadn't won the World Championship since 1948. Chicago hadn't won the World Championship since 1908. The Cubs did it. In extra innings in the 7th game, in one of the greatest games ever played, and one of the greatest World Series ever played, the drought comes to an end after 108 years and wins something like this.
Both teams trying to snap long droughts. The Indians, a 68-year drought since their last title, the longest such drought in the American League, and the Cubs, well, you know, it's been 108 years since their last title. 2 down. A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it and throw to Rizzo. It's in time, and the Chicago Cubs win the World Series. The Cubs come pouring out of the dugout, jumping up and down like a bunch of delirious 10-year-olds. The Cubs have done it. The longest drought in the history of American sports is over, and the celebration begins.
Absolutely one of the greatest World Series ever, and that Game 7 was epic. All 4.5 hours of that. The Cubs finally did it. That's today in history and birthdays. A couple of presidents. If you think becoming Speaker of the House of Representatives is a stepping stone to the presidency, you're wrong, because that guy, James K. Polk, is the only Speaker of the House to ever become the President of the United States. He was born in the state in 1795. He was the 11th President of the United States. His party, the Democrats, didn't even want him to run for the presidency in 1844 when they got together at the Democratic National Convention. They couldn't really pick on anybody, so they went, Jim, you're it. So Jim ran. Jim won. He said he was just going to serve 1 term as the President of the United States. He served just 1 term, but most historians rate him as the greatest 1-term president in this country's history. He worked himself to death. He died just 3 months after leaving the presidency, but he worked 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, had no discernible sense of humor. He was a very sober, studious man, but he did a hell of a good job, all things considered. James K. Polk, the 11th President of the United States, born in the state in 1795. And we talked about Warren Harding. Warren Gamil Harding, born in the state in 1865, died in San Francisco under mysterious circumstances in 1923. He won controlling interest, and he was from Marion, Ohio. He won the controlling interest in the local newspaper, the Marion Star. He won it in a poker game. He was a pretty good poker player. So he won a newspaper, and then he turned the Marion Star into a massive moneymaker because he insisted that every resident in Marion, Ohio, while he owned the newspaper, every resident, man, woman, and child, would have their name in the paper at least once a year. Smart move. Harding, he was no idiot. When he died in 1923, he was extremely popular. It wasn't until after he died that all the corruption and the scandal that associated Warren Harding's administration actually came to light. He was dead by the time that happened. Of course, he had numerous extramarital affairs, including fathering a child out of wedlock while he was president. And my favorite quote from Warren Harding, "I'm not fit for this office and should have never been here." Pretty much all you got to say about that. Warren Harding, born in the state in 1865. Special thanks to our platinum sponsor of not only Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, but our friends at Alpine Air. We want to thank our friends at Alpine. Turn to the carriers at Alpine Air for heating and cooling. It's Alpine Air. They're good folks. They're our platinum sponsors of not only Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, but all kinds of cool programming here on the NCAA Life Channel. Still to come, an opinion from my Mad Dog McDonnie is back to talking wild hockey with Austin Drade. It's been way too long for that. But first, who needs a home? Austin Drade needs a, no, I'm sorry, Michael the dog needs a home. It's Pause for Pets.
Hi, I'm Corley with Wenatchee Valley Humane Society, Animal Care Coordinator, and this this curious goofy boy is Michael. Michael is our five-ish year old husky mix. He came as a stray, so we always try to kind of figure out what kind of what breed they are. And actually with him, we think he might be like mixed with some kind of cattle dog, which is really unique combination. He has those freckles that they do, and he's got the cute freckles on his face, and he's a little bit smaller than the average husky, and yeah, he's just, I don't know, he's definitely got that goofy huskiness though. He's so playful. He is intensely curious. He wants to know everything that's going on everywhere all at once. And he's very agile. So we actually suggest that if you're interested in Michael, that you have a fence because he loves to test his skills with them. Since he's a stray, we don't know about cats, but from what we have seen, he kind of looks like he wants to chase them. So I'm not sure cats would be great in the home, but you know, you never know. As for other dogs, he's very good with them. He's actually one of our more polite players. So he's a really good boy. He also knows his commands. He knows sit, like really good, and he knows shake. He'll throw up a shake before anything else. That's his favorite. Oh, we've had him for probably about 3.5 months. So far too long for this boy to be without a home, which is why we really wanted to feature him this week, because he is such a good boy. Come here, come here. And he just wants attention and love, and he just wants to be with you, and he's just a really good soul. We love you, yes, yes we do. If you would like to come and throw the ball for Michael, we are open Thursday through Tuesday, 11 till 6, and we would love you to come by.
Give them a call at 509-662-9577 or visit their website at wenatcheehumane.org.
The newest generation of GMC Sierra pickups offer the most advanced technology, the strongest selection of powertrain, and everything else you need to work hard, play hard, and explore the boundaries of the Wenatchee Valley and beyond. Take a look at the latest, most luxurious and durable trucks on the market.
You will see why GMC is not your grandfather's pickup.
You want to bet, kid?
Have you been to Boswell's Furniture lately?
Yes, Boswell's has an expansive 2-story showroom filled with so many great choices for our living room, dining room, and bedroom.
Did you know that Boswell sells directly from their store inventory, so we wouldn't have to wait to get our new furniture?
Yes, plus Boswell's has free local delivery and complimentary design service to help us with the layout and fabric choices.
No waiting and amazing customer service. I mean, why would we go anywhere else?
Boswell's on Easy Street. It's closer than you think.
Badger Mountain Brewery is your cure for boredom. Jam Night Mondays. Trivia Wednesdays. Live Music Fridays. And Sunday Brunch. There's always something brewing at Badger Mountain, so come join the party. Castle Rock International is the Northwest's premier real estate agency for large acreage properties, farms and ranch land, lodging and resorts, waterfront properties, and commercial real estate. Professional, knowledgeable, and discreet, award-winning Castle Rock International has the listings and the highly qualified buyers you have been looking for. Contact John McNamara at Castle Rock International today, or visit their website for more information about this outstanding local company.
Mad Dog McNaughty, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, Western Christianity is focused on personal sin, considering the things that I have done wrong, saying that you're sorry to Jesus, and asking to be forgiven. Well, what about the sin of social injustice? Many of the lessons in the Bible aren't focusing on whether or not you stole a candy bar, told a lie, or said a bad word, but instead, a lot of messages, particularly in the Old Testament minor prophets and the major prophets too, they address things of social injustice. Now, the Old Testament prophets were big on chastising God's people for focusing on themselves and ignoring the poor, the hungry, and society's outcasts. Maybe the church in America should start being more concerned about racial prejudice, economic inequality, and things like whether or not we are a society that cares for the dispossessed, instead of wondering if Jesus is someone's personal Lord and Savior. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Most of us are in touch with the internet in one way or another all day long. A fast, secure connection matters. It keeps us entertained, informed, and in touch. Locatel cares about your connection. We know strong, reliable internet with your choice of speed makes life better. If you need fast, reliable internet, or maybe an upgrade, or you just have questions, connect with us by visiting locatel.com or call 509-888-8888 today.
Get your favorite beverage and a wide variety of food choices all under one big roof at the Tap Room in Pybus. The Tap Room has the most popular choices for lunch and dinner in the Valley. With unique appetizers, salads, sandwiches, and tasty rice bowls, everybody will find a new favorite dish. Plus many craft beers from Hellbent Brewing, or you can choose wine, cider, or a delightful craft cocktail. Experience the family-friendly Tap Room at Pybus for yourself. It's just what you've been looking for. Welcome back to the program. If you have not been paying attention, who is the hottest team in the Western Hockey League? Who is in first place in the United States division of the Western Hockey League? And who's the black private dick, who's the sex machine to all the chicks? Talking about John Shaft, right here. John Shaft, oh, I'm sorry, it's Austin. It's Austin Andrade, broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild, and a stranger, my friend. I actually got a text from my sister last week. Said, how come Austin's not doing your show anymore? And I said, we've had scheduling things. I said, they were on the road for a long time. You guys were,
eight games
in over 2 weeks, something like that?
About 3 weeks, yeah.
3 weeks. Long road trip. Yeah.
It's good to be back.
Yeah, it's welcome. Well, good to see you again. Here we go. The transition is complete. Everybody has their roles now. We are now competing in the Western Hockey League against some pretty good teams, and it turns out we're pretty good.
We're pretty good.
Your initial impressions after, what, 15, 16 games into the year?
We're up to 15 games now. We'll play 16 on Friday and then 17 on Saturday. It's definitely a faster game than we've seen before, a more skilled game than we've seen before. I would say a more physical game than we've seen before. Everything you like about hockey and everything you've gotten used to seeing about hockey, it's been ramped up this year, and it's been ramped up significantly.
And speed. These guys are fast. These really fly up and down the ice.
These guys really fly up and down the ice, and a lot of them, Kenta Iso guy is one of them who really jumps to mind. They've got some quick first steps. When you see them take off, they throw the afterburners on, and you don't see them anymore once they take off and get going. And
physically, they're bigger. Not just the forwards, but the defensemen, and they're just bigger, stronger. They're better hockey players. Nothing against the British Columbia Hockey League or before that the North American Hockey League. These guys are simply bigger, better, faster, stronger hockey players.
They're bigger. They're more skilled, and these guys, these guys have the track of, hey, we want to be professional hockey players. That's what they've put their training into, and it's whatever that training has looked like for them. A lot of the guys have gone to hockey schools or schools up in Canada. They played for AAA bantam programs up there. That training for a lot of these guys has really paid off. That's why they're in the WHL, and that's why they're in Wenatchee.
And we don't want to get too deep into the past. We all know what happened. Coach was brought in. Coach was suspended after a couple of games, eventually fired. Had kind of a bit of a limbo. The team was kind of searching for its identity. You brought in this new coach, this incredibly successful coach, whose track record has been phenomenal. And not only is he a great find for the organization, thank you to the Whites and Bliss for bringing this guy in, but he's righted the ship. This team's playing good hockey.
This team really is playing good hockey, and I think Coach Sommer especially, looks like he's having fun out there. He's getting a chance to really teach the guys and kind of refine the skills for the guys here. But I think the transition has pretty well worked itself out. We've seen a little bit of movement in the lines, and now the guys are starting to play with the same group of guys more often. And I think we're seeing that chemistry built up. Not only that, but the guys are starting to, we're starting to see some guys come back from injuries that were injured at the beginning of the year. And these aren't just guys who, they're depth players, they're bodies. We've got guys, Ty Frazier is one of them, who played a full season in the WHL last year. Lucas Sherbina was out for several weeks. He played a couple of games for Spokane, but he's one of the older players on the roster, at least middle of the pack in terms of age. So the guys who have come back from injuries, they're skilled guys, they're older guys, more experienced guys, and guys with higher expectations. And I think having those guys back and being able to bring some of the load off of our 2006 and 2007 born players who are just kind of getting their feet wet and getting thrown into the fire right away, I think has made a big difference.
Who's stood out to you as a leader on this club? Not necessarily the best player, but the player that the other teams look up to and set an example of this is wild hockey and this is how we go about our business. Any names jump out at you immediately?
I think one of the guys who jumps out, and he is one of the best players on the team.
That helps.
He leads the team in scoring right now, is Graham Swart, our defenseman. He's played several years in the league already, had played for Spokane a couple of years ago, and he's a leader on the ice, off the ice. The guys really look to him for the leadership, and besides that, he's turned up the offensive part of his game, and he's kind of deadly when it comes to scoring, even though he's playing back on the blue line.
I was going to say, anytime a defenseman scores, that's like sugar on the ice cream right there, baby.
That's bonus.
That's good stuff. Good weekend for the Wenatchee Wild. They had a short little, they're in the middle of a fairly lengthy homestand, but they had to pop on over to Everett and take on Everett on Friday night. As we roll highlights, Austin, I'm going to ask you to use the monitor here in the studio. Folks at home, please use your televisions. Walk us through Friday night's overtime victory against the Silvertips.
Friday's overtime victory, first one up, goal less than 2 minutes into the game for Everett. They had the lead 1-0, but the Wild did get it back. One-timer, Lucas Sherbina from the left wing. Quick release, 1-1. This one made it 2-1, just an odd bounce off the end boards. Miles Cooper comes to collect it and makes it 2-1. The goaltender is looking over to his right. That's where he expected the puck to be. That's not where it was. This one makes it 3-1 right before the end of the second period. Wild are up 2 after 2. Looking good, but don't count out the Silvertips. They will make a comeback in the third period. Out to the left point, quick jostle toward the net, and that one goes through, gets pushed in, makes it 3-2. Down to the final seconds, 6-on-5 at the other end, and the Everett Silvertips going to tie it. Pass out front, one-timer into the back of the net. 16 seconds left in regulation, and it's a tie game. This will be a 3-point game. Kenta Isogai, excuse me, I'm done for the night. Thank you very much. Good night. Drive home safely. Kenta Isogai with the overtime goal, 36 seconds in. If you had one shot, one opportunity, Kenta Isogai, that's all he needed. 4-3, the final score in overtime. Wild extend the run to 4 straight games with a win. Won all 3 at home before going on the road. Took that one in overtime and extended the winning run and bumped up the road record as well.
Interesting second period as far as shots on goal. We were outshot by 20, right? Everett had 25 shots on goal in the second period. We only had 5. None of theirs went in the net, and 2 of ours did.
They controlled the pace, but it's not how you get them, it's how many, and we got to.
Wait a minute. I'm writing that down. It's not how, it's how many. That was Friday night in Everett. Then they were right back home taking on Kamloops. Kelowna. Thank you very much. From the Town Toyota Center. Once again, Austin, I'm going to ask you to use the monitor here in the studio, and you folks at home, please use your TVs. Here we go. This is a Saturday night.
This is Saturday night. Pass over to the left wing. First period, Kenta Isogai with a rip and a goal. 1-0 Wild. Another power play goal. They've scored one in 5 straight games, and Kenta Isogai puts that one away to make it 1-0. Right out of the media timeout, Evan Friesen, bye-bye, breaks up a pass at the blue line, drives it in, and scores it. 2-0, Wild up front. Wenatchee, a flare for the last second. In the left wing, Miles Cooper, all the way down to the end, plays it back. Might have gotten the tip of it from Ty Frazier, but Graham Sward up top hammers it home. 2.2 left in period 2, and it's no longer 2. It's 3-0 Wenatchee going to the third period. That one with 2 seconds left. This one with a little more than a minute gone, and a play out in front of the net. Trying to find it. Goaltender, excuse me, where is it? I'm trying to find, if you don't mind. Oh, there it is in the back of the net. And another one from Miles Cooper. 4-0 final score. Wild make it a 5-game winning streak. And that one, the exclamation mark on a fantastic night of hockey in the Wolves' Den, back at home, and ready for a couple more.
Opportunistic goals. You mentioned they had just come right out of the media timeout, and Kelowna was not ready. I mean, we grabbed the puck and went right down, and they were like, hey, wait a minute, we're not ready to go yet. And that's called opportunistic. And then that goal at the end of the period, when they were most of the team was getting ready to skate off the ice and bring the Zamboni out, and they didn't play the last 2.5 seconds. And that's what makes for a good team, isn't it?
And you mentioned the goal that Evan Friesen scored right out of the media timeout. He actually set that up by Kelowna winning a face-off, and they made the pass from point to point on the blue line that you often see. Evan sniffed that one out, got up to the blue line, broke it up, and had nothing but daylight in front of him, and the goal at the other end, and he took advantage of it. So a heads-up play by Evan to turn that into a shorthanded goal for the Wild and really bump up the score. You talk about the goal that Graham Sward scored at the end of the second period. It is amazing, and I was talking with their radio guy about it after the game. It's amazing how big the difference when you go into the period like that.
Absolutely. It just sucks all the momentum right out of your team when you give up a goal like that.
Not only that, but to go from 2-0 to 3-0. If you give up, if you go into the final period down by 2, and we saw it with the Everett game on Friday night, okay, we're still in this one. We've got to find a way to break the seal on the net, but we're still in this one as long as we work quick and get something out of it. You give up a goal to go down 3 with 2 seconds left in the period, and you see the shoulders start to slump.
Yeah, you can just see it. Absolutely. And then they get, when you get to, say, 10 minutes left in the game and you're down 2 goals, 3 goals in this case, and then you start getting a little desperate. You start making mistakes, penalties, that kind of stuff.
And you start you start working harder to figure out a way to beat the goaltender, which in Daniel Hauser's case, he makes the hard stuff look really, really easy. So it was a total team effort from the guys Friday and Saturday, and that's what we've seen from them for the last 2 weeks.
Before we preview the weekend series, one more little something that Austin and I were talking about off the air. We talked about this, just the quality of hockey is considerably better than any of the other leagues that the Wenatchee Wild franchise have been playing in the last 15, 16 years. There's a lot more fighting in the Western Hockey League. They're not afraid to drop the gloves and go at it, are they?
There has been an uptick, and the difference, one thing that the fans will notice as far as the rules go, is in the North American Hockey League, they gave you the 5 minutes for the fight and then tack on another 10-minute misconduct for the fight. In the BCHL, it was no fighting, drop the gloves, and get out. And in the Western Hockey League, a lot of the rules are either identical to or based on professional hockey rules, NHL, AHL, and they're enforced that way. So in the NHL, the AHL, you see 5 minutes for a fight, and that's all you see. It's been enforced the same way here. So we've seen guys drop the gloves, take 5 minutes off, and then come right back out and get themselves back into the game and make an impact.
Does that mean that teams look for the occasional enforcer in that respect? Because enforcing in the British Columbia Hockey League was simply a no-no, so you didn't have to worry about putting a couple of guys on your roster who is there to shake things up, like the 76 Philadelphia Flyers. But is that something that you consider when you're building a roster for the Western Hockey League? Do you bring in a couple of guys like that?
I think you always look for guys who can be physical and mix it up. At the very least, for a coach, it opens up that option now.
Yeah. Let's talk about this weekend. Friday and Saturday, Vancouver Giants and Victoria Royals. coming to town. Opening puck at 7 o'clock, I believe. Proud to be an American Night is Friday night, is that right?
Proud to be an American Night is on Friday, presented by Riverside Payments. And you can also get free tickets for the kids as well. We've got a couple hundred of those that were made available at
free tickets?
Free tickets for kids at the week of the game. We've got several games where we've had sponsors who have stepped up and made those available, so we'll have those available for the game on Friday. We are, thanks to Riverside Payments for taking care of that for this game. And then Saturday is against Victoria. That one's 6 o'clock, and that one is our Military Appreciation Night. Free tickets for the military, as we do for this game each year. And we'll auction those jerseys off after the game.
5 in a row. That makes them the hottest team in the league. I actually checked. They're the only team in the league that's won 5 in a row at this point in this season. 8-6-1-0 on the year. We're playing good hockey. And folks are getting into it. I mean, usually Wenatchee Wild hockey, it's like after the holidays, and we'll start figuring out what the hell's going on. That's not the case this year. People are getting people on board from day one. Excitement is up this year. Crowds are up this year. We saw, I think, 2,100 in the building for our Tuesday game against Kamloops last week, which 2,100 during the week. We've seen that in past years, but this early in the season, while things are still ramping up and folks are still kind of getting into that winter mode. I think that's definitely a bump from previous years, and we want to keep that going. By the way, thanks to the Wild front office, Gretchen and David and all the crew, that we got our gift bag at the start of the year as a sponsor. Got a nice little pin. We got all the tickets, the tickets that we've been giving away, the premium tickets on Winning Wednesday here in Wenatchee Valley. Our parent company is going to have sponsoring a night, I think, coming up in just a couple of weeks. Lots of cool swag in the bag, and this was the cool thing. Check this out, folks. This was a nice touch. This is a Wenatchee Wild piggy bank. It's made out of plastic with the WHL logo on the back. And I got this. I thought, this is really cool. You know, nice little piggy bank. And I thought, wait a minute. This is a piggy bank that you can't open. What's the point of this? And I had this thing for like 3 weeks, and I realized, oh, wait a minute. The back comes out. This is how stupid I am. The back of the piggy bank actually, well, trust me. See, look, there we go. It comes out. The back of it comes out. I didn't know that. I'm going, why would you give anybody a piggy bank that you couldn't actually break into? I'm not very smart, Austin. Go Wild, and let's make this, again, we had some scheduling snafus. We're not going to let that happen again. You're going to be a regular visit with us, right? Absolutely. All right. He's a complicated man, but no one understands him but his woman, John Shaft. Austin, it's good to see you. Good to see you. Go Wild. Go Wild. We'll be right back.
At Chelan's premier lifestyle store, Willow, find unique home decor, clothing, jewelry, and more. Come visit for a welcoming and memorable shopping experience.
Deepwater Electronics is your one-stop shop for the latest in TV and sound technology. Whether you build your home theater or let them do it for you, Deepwater Electronics is the clear choice.
The switch is on to T-Mobile. Get the best 5G experience and the customer service you depend on. Only at Chelan Wireless in downtown Chelan.
In today's environment, risk management assessment is a crucial process for your business. Risk assessment will identify, evaluate, and mitigate hazards. Don't let risk impact your business income, reputation, operations, and your overall success. We can give you peace of mind by transferring your business risks to the insurance providers. Call Stacy at August Edge Insurance today to schedule a risk management assessment for your business.
That's a pretty cool shot behind me of our Wenatchee Heights camera. You can see the low clouds and the fog, but I had a chance to step outside for just a brief moment or two during our Austin Draw Day interview, and I noticed it's pretty much stopped raining. In fact, as the rain begins to taper off and the first of 2 moist and warm systems come out of the Pacific Ocean, we're actually going to see some sunshine this afternoon. We're going to flip that coin like you wouldn't believe. Then not a bad Friday at all, and then here comes the rain, part 2 from the National Weather Service. Again, the rain is beginning to taper off. It's moving away from us. We'll start drying out. That process begins about now. We'll get up to about 50 or so, which is about normal. We've had a very cold stretch of weather. Clear tonight, 40 for the overnight low. Sunshine all day Friday. Don't get used to it. High of 54. It's actually above normal. Friday night, about midnight, it's going to start raining. It's going to rain till about noon on Saturday. Pretty much the same deal that we just had. It's going to do it all over again Friday night into Saturday. Saturday afternoon, however, going to be dry and then mild and wet for the weekend, too. All right, that's it for us. Have a great Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
And one incumbent are in the race to be the mayor of Leavenworth for the next 4 years with this November election. I'm joined right now by the incumbent mayor, Carl Flory. You've been working with the problem of housing affordability for quite some time,
right?
Even previous to your mayorship.
Right.
Can you talk about what steps you've been able to make in your first term and what you'd like to see accomplished on that front in the second term?
If we're going to house and affordably house a workforce, they're going to be smaller units. There's going to be, cottages. There's going to be the idea that you can build affordable single-family homes on a single-family lot. That ship sailed. That's not possible. The cost of them, just the cost alone, makes it impossible.